Straight all day.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, put a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves anyone, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. In today's topic, we are starting another three-part series. I got a three-part series bug here. So this is going to be a three-part series on brand building myths. Some things that you have been told about building a brand that are simply not true. I'm going to tell you what these myths are, why they are not true, and what the actual truth is. Again, over a three-part series of episodes that will be here on this feed. Before we get started though, let me tell you all that I have a daily motivation text I send out free of charge every day to everyone in my text community. This is a message that is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. So since you want this message, and why would you not? Text me at this number right now, 305-384-6894. And every morning, starting tomorrow when I send out the daily motivation message, you as a member of my text community shall receive that message. And as a matter of fact, you can actually respond to one of those texts that I send out and get a response back from me, because every day I actually take time and respond to messages that people send to me. So text me at my number. That number is listed down below in the show notes as well in case you missed it. Secondly, Work on Your Game University is the place where you take the next step with me. That's where you get access to all of my courses on mindset, business, strategy, communication skills, people skills, and all that inner game that you need so we can translate it into outer game. We got all of that covered inside the university. Just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you get options for being coached directly by me, my group coaching programs, one-on-one programs, also all the courses, and I send out 2 physical mailings every month to everyone who's a member of the university at any level. That's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. So now, getting into this subject of brand building myths. The reason why I'm even getting into this is because there are many people these days who are looking to build brands, and it's a good idea. It's a good idea to build a brand. It can't hurt you. And I get direct messages from people often who are telling me that they are building their brand, they are looking to expand their brand. Social media apps have done a great job. The companies who create the apps have done a great job of enticing people into this whole concept of brand building. So much, and there are so many people who are into this, that I want to clear up some myths about building a brand that any of you aspiring brand creators or current brand owners can make sure that you steer clear of. We got to get clear on what these myths are, because these myths are going to cost you time, because you're going to be putting time, attention, and energy into these myths that are not true. And because you're giving your time, attention, and energy into things, it's also going to cost you money, because that's the money that you're not making because you're focusing on the wrong thing. So let's get into it. Again, this is part 1 of a 3-part series. Point number 1, topic once again is brand building myths. Number 1, your brand matters just as much as your business. This is a myth. This is a falsehood that has been sold to you by people who want you to invest in your brand but do not give a damn whether or not you have a business. I want you to understand that the social media companies that create the apps that we all know and love, these apps want your brand to matter more than your business, because your brand is simply what other people think about you, what your followers, your likers, and all the the vanity metrics that we look for on social media apps, whether you're looking at your own or you're looking at someone else's. Those are all brand identifiers. That's what they are. Brand identifiers are, again, your reputation, is what people think about you, is what you show to the world. Your likes, your comments, your followers, your views, your subscribers. Again, anything that is a vanity metric. Vanity metrics are simply the numbers. Vanity metrics are the numbers that don't put food on your table. They're just numbers. All right, they just are what they are. So you look at somebody's follower count, how many likes they have, how many views they got on their video. All of those things are vanity metrics. How many downloads somebody gets on their show, all those are all vanity metrics. All right, when I tell you that this show, Work on Your Game, did over, what did we do last year? I think we did over 2 million downloads in 2022. Work on Your Game masterclass. Let me make sure. I think that was the number. I'll check right now. It's gonna take me a second to pull these numbers up, because I gotta put the custom time in, but I'm pretty sure that's the number, if I remember properly. In 2022, the Work on Your Game Masterclass did 2.36 million downloads. That number is a vanity metric because 2.36 million downloads, nobody pays me money just because we got that number of downloads. Now, does it play a role in the business that we do? Yes, but the numbers themselves do nothing. Those are vanity metrics. How many followers you got on social media? Vanity metrics. How many people liked your post is a vanity metric. Understand something. The social media applications want you focused on those vanity metrics because those are the things that keep you using the apps. And the more you use the app, the more time you give, the more money they make. Okay? Here's what matters, folks. Your business is what matters, not their business, your business. Your business model and their business model are not the same. The business model of TikTok and Facebook is getting you and me to spend as much time as possible on their apps, and the more time we spend on those apps, the more money they make, because they simply take the amount of time we spend and they sell that time to advertisers to make money. That is literally their business model. I've said this in many episodes of this show. I'm going to keep saying it because I want to make sure those of you who are serious about your business understand this. Not to make you stop using social media. I'm not going to stop using it. It's so that you understand what's happening. You got to know the game. If you don't know the game, you're getting played. All right, as they say, if you don't know who the dummy is at the card table, you're the dummy. All right, you're the sucker who's getting played if you don't know who the sucker is. So their apps, TikTok, they make their money by getting you to spend time on TikTok. You don't make money by spending time on TikTok. They make money by you spending time on TikTok. You make money by selling your products and services to customers. You can use TikTok to get people's attention, but now you have to take another step and get them to actually buy something from you. That you need more than one step. They don't. They only need that step. They get your time, then they sell it to the advertisers. Well, they do take two steps. They sell your time to the advertisers. You getting people to spend time looking at your posts does not make you money. Everybody got that? Your brand is based on how much time you get people to engage with you and your stuff that you post on social media. But you don't get paid for that. The difference between the business and the brand is that the brand is your show to the world, while the business is the money, the revenue, the customers, and the clients. Those are the metrics that matter. All right, so we got vanity metrics and we got hard metrics. Okay, the vanity metrics are the things I already talked about: likes, comments, followers, subscribers, downloads, views, etc. The hard metrics is the money, the revenue, the customers, and the clients. Cost per click, average customer value, average cart value, lifetime value. Those are the hard metrics. Those are the ones you want to know. Hard. Let me give you a simple way to separate a hard metric from a vanity metric. A hard metric involves money. Okay, if it doesn't involve money, that's a metric that you don't need to pay that much attention to. Now, the caveat to that is some of your audience members, some of your fans may be more inclined to do business with you because of your vanity metrics. Like, for example, somebody might be more willing to buy something from a person who has 1 million followers than a person who only has 5,000 followers, because they believe that having 1 million followers must mean you're doing something great business-wise. Not necessarily true. But you need to understand the game. So use this information as you wish. You just got to know what the game is. As long as you understand the game, now you have options. But if you don't understand the game, you're getting played. All right, so the bottom line is the business. So you can have a strong, healthy business with a relatively unknown brand, meaning you don't have to be known on any social media app to have a very strong business and be making good money. But if you have a brand that is very strong, meaning a lot of people know who you are, but you are not producing any business, what does it matter? All right, can you pay bills with that? Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is some brand building myths we are going to bust over these 3 episodes. Number 2, your brand is a one-time project that begins and ends. Listen, I want you to understand, I'm not against building a brand. All right, Work on Your Game is a brand. Dre Baldwin, Dre All Day are brands. I'm not against the concept of building a brand. So if you're going to build a brand, you just need to know how to do it. And you need to understand that there's a business that needs to be underneath that brand, not the brand doesn't go underneath the business goes underneath the brand. What's underneath is the foundation. All right, so the business is the foundation, the brand goes on top of it. Get it? Your brand is not a one-time project, though, that begins and ends if you decide to go the branding route. Your brand is a living, breathing entity. Work on Your Game is an entity. Dre All Day is an entity. Once you have created one, you must do the work to maintain that brand. You must allow and cause it to evolve. You build on it and you expand it. That's the purpose of having a brand. A brand is not something that you do one time and then you leave it alone forever. You don't create a logo and put up a website and say, all right, I got this thing called work on your game. I got a brand, I'm done. No, you maintain your brand the same way you maintain your body, the same way you maintain your home. All right, if you want to maintain your body, what do? You put food in it. All right, you take a shower. All right, you go to the doctor. You go to the dentist. You exercise. All right, if you want to maintain your home, what do? You clean your home. All right, you clean the toilets. You take the trash out. You do these things to maintain it. So once you have it, it's not done. You just got started. So you don't clean your house one time and never clean it again, right? You don't go to the gym one time and never work out again. Building and maintaining a brand is an ongoing job that never ends. So if you decide to start a brand, understand that you'll be working on your brand indefinitely. You'll be, again, evolving your brand, expanding your brand, changing your brand, doing different things with your brand. So for example, just to tell you some things that kind of encompass these first 2 points. My start in having a brand was putting videos on YouTube back when I was playing basketball, and a bunch of basketball fans started following me. 99% of my audience up through 2010 were basketball players, and I started putting content on the internet in 2005. So that first 5 years, most of my audience were basketball players, because that's pretty much all I was talking about was basketball. And I had a brand. My brand was simply Dre Baldwin. I didn't start saying work on your game until about 2009. But up to that point, if someone was telling somebody else about me, which is a representation of you having a brand, people are talking about you to their friends. It was this dude on YouTube named Dre Baldwin. Look him up. He posts videos to show people how to get better at basketball. He's good at explaining it. That was my brand. Then I started saying work on your game. Work on your game became a brand unto itself. And sometimes I would say Dre All Day, dreallday.com as a website. I first registered that domain name in 2007. So those kind of became the brands. But at that time, the brand was not monetized. I didn't start making money from my brand until about 2009, going into 2010. That's when I started creating my own products and services. Also the same time that I became at the time they called a YouTube partner, meaning your videos had ads on them and you make ad revenue from monetizing your videos. Believe it or not, some of you are not old enough to remember there was a time when you could watch YouTube videos all day and never see a single advertisement. But those times changed around 2009. YouTube was purchased by Google. Google started running ads on the videos, and the rest became history. So that's when I really started monetizing it. I didn't really have a business until probably 2010, which is when I started creating my own products and services. And I still really didn't know exactly what I was doing. I wasn't really super strategic about it, but I knew what my plan was. I was strategic in a way, but my strategy was very simple. Let's put it that way. Strategy being simple was I created my products that basketball players could buy that would help them work on their games. All I did was put a video on YouTube showing people how to work on their games. And I said, if you want a full program with more of what you just saw, all you got to do is go to this website and buy the program. My program was called hoophandbook.com. Still exists to this very day. Still sell basketball programs to this very day. So that was my strategy. Put a video on YouTube about, let's say, shooting a jump shot. And then on a video about shooting jump shots, I will promote the program about shooting jump shots, send them to that website, they will buy the program. That was my whole strategy. And that is a strategy. It's a plan of action. It was a very simple strategy, but that strategy worked. We sold a lot of programs. I sold thousands of those programs in volume without running a single advertising campaign, simply because I was using YouTube as my lead source. And that was my whole plan at that time. And that was when the business part began. And at that point, when I started selling those programs through my YouTube videos from my website, Hoop Handbook, that's when I said to myself, you know what? If I can really figure out how to do this, and I can do it in a sustainable, duplicatable way, that I can do it repeatedly over and over again, sell these programs, this business matters more than the brand. I mean, the brand helps, the brand aids the business, but the main thing is the business, because I was making money. I mean, nobody does something for nothing. And once I realized there was a way to make money through doing this internet stuff, I said, okay, I could do this forever. And to go back in the story, back in 2001, 2002-ish, around that time, I had been introduced to network marketing. I went to a couple of hotel meetings in Philadelphia on City Line Avenue. There used to be this hotel called the Adams Mark Hotel, right on City Line Avenue, right off of the 76 Expressway, any of you from Philadelphia. Today, that hotel is no longer there. So if you get off of the 76 Expressway, get on City Line Avenue today, and you look to your left, what you're going to see is a big Target and a big shopping center. There's a Chipotle in there and all that stuff. On that land which now is a big shopping center with Target and all this other stuff. It used to be a big hotel. It was like a 30-story hotel called the Adams Mark Hotel. The meetings were at that hotel, which again no longer exists. Now, at those meetings, the people at the meetings, the speakers at the network marketing meetings used to say, hey, go get those personal development books on the table outside of the room. And they would mention these authors: Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins. I never heard of any of these guys, but I remembered the names. I didn't buy the books right there because I was a broke college student. So when I got back to college the following year, I went on eBay, and this is back when if you want to buy something, you went to eBay, not Amazon. I went to eBay and I bought pirated versions of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, 99-cent Word documents. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I read both books, but when I read Robert Kiyosaki, he was just talking about some concepts of entrepreneurship that I had never heard, even though I was literally taking business classes at Penn State University. And in that book, Robert Kiyosaki was just talking about principles that I said, okay, this is what other people are doing. Besides, there are people who have jobs, they go to work, they get paid whatever the job, they have agreed with the job to be paid, and that's what they do. But there's a whole other set of people who do something different when it comes to money. I said, I want to do what they're doing. So looking back on what Kiyosaki had talked about, and then reading this new book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, where he took a lot of the same entrepreneurial principles, but he had digitized these principles, so to speak, metaphorically speaking, as he was using the internet to do it his way. I took the concepts from both books and I started applying them to what I was doing in my business. And that's kind of how I started to build what we now know as Work on Your Game Incorporated. Just looking at the principles from those people, because I knew I didn't want to do what I saw the adults around me doing. They all worked traditional, they had traditional employment, but they didn't seem too happy about it, didn't seem excited about it. They talked about it as a necessary evil, and on top of the fact that despite all their time at work, they didn't really have a lot of money. So I didn't want to do that. It didn't look good to me. So that's how I started really focusing on building the business. The brand just helped me to build the business. The brand gave me entree into building a business, because the brand brought a bunch of attention to me. But just because you have people paying attention to you does not mean that you're making money. Attention is worth money if you know how to monetize it. So you have to be able to monetize your attention, not just get attention, but you have to be able to monetize it. I talked about this in episode 1920, by the way, how to turn attention into revenue. So any of you who has attention on you right now, or you're about to, and you want to turn it into revenue, you have to know how to do it. Listen to episode 1920, how to turn attention into revenue. So all that said, let's move on to point number 3 here today. We are talking about brand building myths. Number 3, you need a website and a logo to have a brand. All right, this is a myth. Your website and your logo are representative of your brand, but you do not need them to have a brand. Let's be clear on what a brand is. Your brand is your reputation and the space that you hold in the mind of your audience. That is your brand. It is what people think about you, and what people think when they hear your name, or what people think when they hear the name of your brand, do they think about you? That's your brand. So if I say golfer, what do you think about? Many of you think Tiger Woods. Why? Because Tiger Woods has, based on his performance and things that he did intentionally, he branded himself as most people. When you say golf, you think Tiger Woods. And when you think Tiger Woods, you think golf. If I say tennis, many of you might think Serena Williams. If I say basketball, there's several people you might think of, but it's a handful. You might think Kobe Bryant, you might think Michael Jordan, maybe LeBron James, maybe Steph Curry, but it ain't that many people you think of. And some of you might think of somebody different if you happen to play golf or tennis or basketball. You may be more myopic. But the average person, let's just say, if I say golf, the average person is going to say Tiger Woods. Get it? If I say talk show, the average person is going to say Oprah. If I say, what's something else? If I say basketball, the average person is about 5 people they're going to think of. Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, Steph Curry. Pretty much that's it. All right, so your brand is just the reputation and space that you hold, if any, in the mind of the audience. A logo and a website can aid your brand, but they do not make a brand, okay? You can have a brand without having a logo or a website. When I was known on the internet and I was selling my programs, when I first started selling my $4.99 training programs to basketball players, I had a website, but it wasn't my website that people were telling each other about. They were just saying, yo, look up Dre Baldwin on YouTube. Now that's it. There was no logo they were mentioning. There was no website. I didn't have a logo. That's it. All they were saying was look up this dude named Dre Baldwin on YouTube. He teach you how to play basketball. That was my brand. Does everybody understand what I'm saying here? So your logo and website does not necessarily mean that you even have a brand. You can have a logo and a website and still be a nobody. If nobody knows who you are, you don't have a brand. Your brand is what people know about you and how they think about you and what they feel about you. Your brand is the space that you have in your mind of the people who you are trying to serve, okay? A brand is a thought process. It is not a tangible thing. You can't hold a brand in your hand. By the way, if you have a logo and a website and nobody's coming to look at your logo or website, does it matter that you have one? Answer is no. All that said, let's recap today's class. Again, this is part 1 of 3. We're talking brand building myths. Number 1, your brand matters just as much as your business. Absolutely not. Number 1 thing that matters in a results-based business, and again, business is money. All right, you want to make the money. You want to do business. Business is about the exchange of money between human beings. Your brand can aid in your business ambitions, but the brand itself does not make you have a business. All right, so you need to be selling things and exchanging with clients and customers in order to have a business. Your brand matters not when it comes to whether that happens or not. It can help, but you don't need one. Point number 2, your brand is a one-time project that begins and ends. This is not true. Your brand is a living, breathing entity. It evolves, it changes, it grows over time. My brand, when I first started out, again, was a bunch of basketball players knew me as the guy who would teach them how to play basketball. Nowadays, somebody mentions Dre Baldwin, they probably aren't mentioning basketball as the first thing. At least if you're actively looking at my stuff, you may think of me as the guy who does this podcast called Work on Your Game. He gives real straight talk, or somebody who helps people with their businesses, or somebody who's all talking about strategy and mindset. Depends on where you came across me. But for most people these days, basketball is not the first thing they think when they hear Dre Baldwin. So my brand has evolved over time. Number 3, you need a website and a logo to have a brand. This is not true. Your brand is a space that you own in the minds of your consumers. It is a thought process. It is not a tangible thing. You don't have to have a logo or a website to have a brand. And just because you have a logo and a website does not mean that you have a brand at all. And again, remember, the most important thing is not the brand, it's the business. But we're talking about brand building myths. So tomorrow we're going to go into the next 3 points of this, and the next day after that, another 3 points of this. First of all, text me. Tell me the best insight you got from today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. And secondly, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. I have courses in there. First of all, we have the content machine course, which is about creating content that can help you build your brand. The sell yourself course was about selling yourself and getting your name out there. Becoming a business athlete, 30-day audio course that I used to sell to corporations for 5-figure sums. I put that in the university. My Work on Your Game system, which tells you how to put all this stuff together into one package. All of that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.